Didn't.
Didn't. They didn't.
They didn't.
No, then you get weird things like I think it was either the Berserker. No, it was an infill with 2 EOC launchers. It was weird.
Or more specific, were they listening to the people who were obviously not meant to be listened to?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Filter on troll posts only. Okay.
It felt like their own PR thing. It's like, oh hey, we get to see the player, and it's like, oh hey, we get to talk to you guys. By the way, let's continue to do our data and see how many people can actually do a thing and just whatever. It's almost like they were there to just get data and not listen to the player base.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I still feel the knife.
Yeah.
You know, the scar somewhere.
The last time I
To
played
the right
Hawken
of my
was,
spine.
last time I played Hawken was 360. That's when I played it.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, that's like way early on.
That's a medieval era?
Gotcha.
The year 360?
That's alpha, man.
No,
Yeah, like yeah,
you
that.
got me.
Yeah,
I
that's.
don't know what it was. There was like some kind of thing behind me. It kind of looked like a radar dish, but it behaved like a turret or something.
It's weird.
And I couldn't back up.
Odd.
Hey, get out of there.
But yeah, I'm really glad just to be able to play it. I would rather have something that's functional instead of like, oh hey, I'd like to see some of the alpha skins, because I know I've heard that you guys won't be able to like add anything else to the game, but the fact that it's just playable is better than anything.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, cool.
For the foreseeable future, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, just don't expect it.
Jesus
fair
Christ,
enough.
terrifying.
I'm
Jesus
just
Christ,
glad that
terrifying.
we're back, and I am so impressed with you guys.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Just to, like I mean, I've seen revivals in games, but communities just can't stay quiet. I'm surprised to see how much of a burst this game had. Like,
This
Like,
is my first. Oh, go ahead.
no, like, I'm just saying, like, I haven't seen a game like burst up like as soon as, because usually I've seen people like, oh hey, we got this game up and running again. People are like usually like oh whatever, whatever you like, okay. Like now it's like, oh, like this game got up and running again, 100 views. Meanwhile, shoots over to the Discord in the game, like 300 players. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is the first time. This is actually the first game that I experienced a revival, and if this is something much more different than that, then we truly have something special.
Seriously.
I think it helps that what the publishers released the other one, the Reborn or whatever, and it flopped.
Yeah,
So
that didn't
yeah.
help.
Well,
They did a fucking bait and switch. That's what they did.
it didn't help, but at the same time,
Like somebody's
it
chasing me still.
brought the name back into like
The public eye, yeah.
Yeah.
Get people's hopes
Well,
up like that.
I wouldn't say so much. I mean, I haven't played it recently, but I wouldn't say so much that they did a bait and switch with Reborn, so much as it's just taking so long to get things developed.
It's not a cash grab. It's not a bait and switch. They just never had anything to show for it. It's still really
Which is-
don't all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is down to the game's troubled development, and has switched. It's been in development hell for a while, and has switched through I think 3 teams now, and none of them can get any grasp on what they have or don't have. So
Not to mention
Yeah,
they have
the
less
bait
than
and switch
10
that was reloaded.
Yeah. I mean, besides the PvP aspect, I do like the player versus environment, like, you know, with Helldivers has been happening, Warframe games like that. This has been.
I think it's not down to the genre, right? I mean, this client also has PvE.
Yes, it does.
All right, cool.
It needs
I
to
destroyed
be
I destroyed the ship.
Yeah, cool.
needs to be a good game in its foundations, or a game at all, right?
I agree.
and if you don't have that, then like the genre doesn't even matter, right? It might as well
Yeah,
be
it really
a
doesn't.
particular game.
Yeah.
If it sucks, it sucks.
I guess Minesweeper is kind of PvE as well.
I mean,
Put it like that.
if you want to argue that way, then
You're
I
right,
guess.
That's a very good point.
Mine's the defining PvE game.
Certainly.
I played it. I don't know,
I
like
think I
for
heard
an
it
hour.
somewhere. Someone described Tetris as a survival horror inventory management sim.
It was.
Survival
Okay, what is
horror.
that? What does that work?
Survival horror Tetris.
Yeah.
Survival horror Tetris.
Survival horror inventory
Ah.
management.
That is funny.
That's fucking accurate as well.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's not wrong. Yeah.
What the fuck? Like that's so weird. That is really weird.
And I fell down again.
So,
Keep
I
alive.
guess-
Reminds me I should record.
what would be the ultimate goal of this project? Like, would it be
I know.
to be open sourced, or
Yeah.
I'm curious about
Yes. Yes, but
Yes.
that will take time.
Yeah, that would take a lot of time. Like, you kidding me? Honestly, the fact that the servers were able to be even reverse engineered in the first place is insanity. Like, that's crazy.
that? Yeah.
Well, we didn't reverse engineer the server.
Well,
Well,
It's
we
complicated.
used
The
some.
So-
services,
so in-
yes.
The server is actually a client.
in essence,
Yeah,
the
but
Hawken client is missing any sort of server code to start up a server. Which is
Yeah.
that we had to reintegrate into the client ourselves. Because of how Unreal works, if you can get a server back in, the game code itself should have its replication intact. So that sort of like projectiles being replicated over from server to clients, that's still present.
Fair enough.
But in the client that we had, there was no sort of like if you tried to start it as a server, it wouldn't open any ports, it wouldn't do any networking, it wouldn't do anything.
Which
And that's the sort of bit that we need to get back in, which is very small.
Yeah, because in development is the name of the game is a minimum based product, and the way that you can look at Hawken is that the viability is all right. You can put a player basically in a playground fighting against AI, making sure that hit detection works, and the player could just play a game. That's the minimum
God dang
thing,
it.
and
Well,
then adding online services on top of it. I'm guessing that's how it goes.
No, the main reason how you do it in Unreal is you compile the project, but there's multiple ways you can compile it as a client, as a sort of all-in-one package, or as a dedicated server. And of course, Hawken being an always online PvP free-to-play game, there's zero interest in providing players with self-hostable servers.
Okay.
From a financial or an architectural standpoint. They had plans for player-hosted servers, but they would have looked like.
I dashed into the grenade.
You would rent them from the developers, right? You pay the devs and you get your own server, but you wouldn't run it. Somewhere in a data center. Because obviously there's like security implications there too. So you wouldn't want to have people look detailed into the server because they can run it on their own machine. So they just threw a flag during compile time. They just stripped out important Unreal code automatically for the client, which we have. And
Jesus
obviously
Christ.
The dedicated server codes were released, and we can't use them because they're legally clean and we don't use any insider information. So we don't get smited by any corporate entity.
Yeah, that's why there's like terms, like a user agreement saying this is what we keep track in order for you to play the game so you can operate. You have the right to do if you want, but we are telling you transparently that this is what will be displayed, but it's for the sake of the game. It's not like, oh hey, this is like some sort of ID like mining thing or piracy thing.
I mean, that's just for transparency and GDPR compliance, right?
Yeah.
The sort of main thing is that we, at any point, clarify, because it's proof that it's all clean room, no insider info used, reverse engineering. So it's just our doing. We don't rely on any weird funky stuff that 505 or anyone else would go after us.
Is there any plans for the community to be able to help with server costs?
We're not taking any funding. To
Okay. I mean,
take
that's
care
fair.
of server trouble.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's-
I'm not gonna elaborate on that.
It's a
Discussion is
difficult-
on hold.
It's
It's
a
probably
difficult
not gonna
topic.
happen. Yeah.
It's a difficult topic to navigate. And,
Yeah.
Again, it's
But the
We're aware of-
reality is that it's
we're aware of
if
the
we
logistics.
grow even more, it's not really sustainable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll put a hold on that statement. Even I mean, we're at 100 players. Yeah.
I mean,
No, we're at 100 players now. The capacities are up to 2,000 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine. That's the
Well, it'll be fine until one of us,
God dang it, guys.
walks in front of a bus.
God, the grenade spam by the enemy team is insane!
Don't worry, Zorkin. I'm not going to walk in front of any buses.
Somebody
I'm
hit
done.
my bus.
Did
I hear-
It's usually the buses walking
It's
in.
the bus. It's the
Yeah.
bus's fault. I know.
Yeah.
Please don't get whacked. Are you being watched? Do we have to? Do you guys need safety? A safe haven?
I'm speaking freely. These statements are my own.
But yeah, it's like I think I've almost been playing for a week, and I'm just amazed. And I know we keep on going back to like, what? But no, seriously, this is pretty grand. I'm really happy with how you guys did this. And once I'm done with school and start understanding more about like how to work on things and just get more experience, I would love to even possibly try to learn if there's any way I could donate my time to help with this project.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we're
sure,
just
we
getting
can.
started. There's a huge potential for future sort of endeavors. I mean, some people have already suggested modding. Obviously, it's a complex topic that requires some detailed looking at, and I mean we've already done it in some part. But yeah, it's just the beginning.
Actually, I did want to ask though, like, okay, I want to preface this by saying, but yes, no, the question I'm going to ask is a broad slash kind of a dream question, of course. So don't humor it too much, but just humor me. Like, if you, like, other than the obvious about making Hawken again and all that jazz, if you like in the future, say in the future, like you wanted to, like, Hawken got out on its feet again or something like that, it got out there, open source, whatever, what would you want to see? Like, do you want things added to Hawken? Do you want, like what would you want, personally?
Honestly, I'm very picky. You know, at the moment, I'm very much focused on the now, so it's kind of hard to look that far into the future.
I think you're the least picky player. Like you're fine just playing Assault.
Would you say, do you want more weapons? Do you want more?
Well, in general, here's some considerations on the topic. Right. So it being a multiplayer PvP game.
I think more maps would be great, but
yeah, that would be great.
That's gonna be a really it's the toughest.
That's technically impossible.
Fair enough.
Probably, yeah. Well, nothing is impossible, but it's gonna take years of sifting through and hack. Yeah, I know.
I said it's technically impossible for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future.
As I've reiterated in text plenty of times on this Discord, with enough time, effort, and expertise, anything is possible.
Yeah.
In the realistic sense, speaking in years, not decades, or multiples of decades, it might as well be impossible from the current standpoint. Anyway.
Yeah,
Because of how maps would have to be built.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, all the custom entities. For starters, we don't even know how many there are.
The alternative, instead of trying to reverse engineer how to build an existing system, would be essentially.
Fuck, we need assistance on the point again.
Game from the ground up.
Yes. But
Something. A couple of years ago, we kind of started doing that, but
plenty of people, myself included, as a sort of hobby, spare time thing, have probably replicated Hawken's movement and maybe even mechs as part of small game projects here and there. As a general sort of serious project, I don't think like a one-to-one port or recreation is worth doing for the simple legal sake of it. Unless you were to make your entire own game with custom assets that's Hawken inspired and Hawken-esque. At that point, it's a fair game. You can do whatever you like. Just don't call it Hawken, and all the assets you make from scratch.
Yeah.
More power to you in that sense. But if it's just, well, we'll take the assets and put them in another engine, it's generally not worth it because you'll never get anywhere legally with that. Like,
No.
you won't be able to distribute it.
We knew
to
that,
use it in
but
any sense.
it was nice working on it, having the original assets to start with.
That's really cool, I bet, to like being able to have like, the layout of the maps, the textures, and like the rigging of everything there. I bet it's like fun.
Especially, all the animations.
Well,
text-
notice that you can't
material.
actually export the maps. They're more...
No, we couldn't have the maps. But, so, there was an effort I started to recreate Hawken in Unreal 4. At the time, it was the most recent version of Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
And of course, you're gonna need a pretty big team to even get close to something like that, and then you can't release it because
Yes, so it's not worth it in that regard, more or less.
But
again, if you make it from scratch...
Hey, it was fun.
If you make it from scratch, that makes sense because
well, that's where you're gonna need like a lot of manpower.
because you're producing something.
Yeah, I've meddled with making some stuff from scratch prior to this project taking off, but naturally, the pace we're going at now and the developments here, it's taking its main focus. But I'm usually I like DIY stuff, so I'm quite interested in it.
Because there's no like, you get to learn and explore on your own leisure, and there's no crunch time, and it's just basically for the sake of I have time. I can be able to
creation.
Crunch time, and it's self-inflicted.
Yeah,
like
you
the
get to
beta
just
launch.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's very not, having to work against deadlines or.
I also think, as part of a new effort, you would have to, or I personally would prefer, taking specific care to like the solid foundations to it, which obviously also takes time. Right. If you're just working on an existing thing like here, there's obviously stuff that isn't perfect or a bit weird, but it's just how the client used to be. But if you were making something from scratch, it's best if things are fairly solid down below.
Very much so.
Like for example, things you probably shouldn't or wouldn't repeat is the way like Hawken does networking, which is it's fine as is, but there's no latency compensation whatsoever, right? So you've fully experienced it. You have to lead. If your latency is relatively high, you have to lead your hit scan as well, which is it's a choice for sure, but at least a little bit of compensation.
And it's not necessarily ideal or not necessarily designed, but it's not in mind for like gameplay or for the player's sake.
Well, Unreal 3's replication doesn't come with any latency compensation to speak of. I think, as far as I'm aware, there's some weapons in like Unreal Tournament that had it, but all of that was more or less custom implemented for the application. Right? So,
really? Which one?
I heard it somewhere that there's some sniper rifle in one of the Unreal Tournaments that does latency comp.
Really?
But again, yes. The sort of frame rollback is you just implement custom on the weapon class. Right? It's not a default engine feature.
Yeah, you'd have to build on top of it.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a lot
Which,
was built on top of this for Hawken as well, which makes it even harder.
Yeah.
For example, like the reverse engineering maps, and even if you were to get all the
Well-
assets out and start building something
reverse
in
engineering maps.
Unreal.
Reverse
Three.
engineering maps is a challenge because of how you were supposed to develop them when you had a source code access license, which we did. You would
I had
essentially
that at
call-
school, UDK, UE3, with C++, but yeah.
Well,
So shit, if you can have all the entities available, like custom spawns, for example, other map
you would
markers.
fork the engine with an access license, essentially. That was and you would build on top of the game classes and extend them as Unreal provided them. But that also means that if you package those into a map, they'd have custom properties set and look custom in the sort of map format to an extent.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's not. It's absolutely zero of an issue if you're, the developer's working on the game, because you're building your editor from the same source code and branch that you're building the game client from. It's a complete non-issue there. But if you're working backwards, we have no editors to speak of.
Yeah.
Or
You're just
source
basically
code, for that matter.
Yeah, because you're just basically manufacturing a different experience. You're just taking like the original source code and design of Unreal Engine, and you're just building on top of it, because what it has at the moment might not necessarily have what you need in the long end. I'm guessing.
There's no source to speak of, right? What you do is you inject into the client at runtime in memory, and then hook all the stuff that's running in memory, and call functions on it, and make it do things, and add like if a function in the game is being called, you can detour it somewhere else to your own, and then implement custom functionality there at runtime. But there's no project that you compile from source, as you would if you were a normal Unreal developer, be it 3, 4, or whatever version. It's a completely sort of different process.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking for the sake of like building the game from the ground up, but through client side, yeah, I get that.
I mean, yeah, if you're starting with just Unreal just now, you more or less just be developing a game. If you'd be going the from scratch route.
Fedorix has a. Do you know? He's solo working on some kind of Hawken clone.
You're talking to me?
A Hawking Club?
Clone.
Hawken clone.